thanks for joining us today. My name is Bill Hubbard. I am with North Valley Community Foundation. I am the Director of Charitable Gift Planning and once in a while serve as the General Counsel for the organization. We're glad to have you here. We are going to be talking about one aspect of charitable gift planning, namely stock gifts. And I am very pleased to have with me Brian Sweeney.
Good to be here, Bill.
Thank you. I really appreciate you being here. You've been around Chico for a while, it seems to me.
It feels that way. Probably a good 50 years now, or coming on it.
Yes. Well, Brian has been in the market. What do they use now? Do they still use the term stockbroker or investment advisor, or what is that?
They use all those firms. Yeah. Well, no, I think to kind of characterize what our company had become before I moved to more of a retired or an overseer position with it. We're registered investment advisors.
Okay.
So work closely with clients in various investment and financial planning and sometimes estate planning needs.
Okay, very good. Well, my understanding is that you've been here in Chico at that same profession for over 40 years.
44 years, yeah. Now I'm aging myself.
You've seen some ups and downs in the investment market, I suspect.
Yeah, we have. We've been through maybe 5 or 6 major crashes, and the world was always coming to an end, but here we are.
And when you say here we are, this is all-time high in the markets.
All-time high in the markets. It's interesting. When I came into the profession in 1980, the Dow was about 1,000, and today we're sneaking up on eventually 40,000. So, in spite of all the turmoil in the headlines, the market does tend to go up because companies do well and people keep consuming products, and inflation drives prices up, and it's been very rewarding for stock investors who've stayed the course.
I would agree with you. Our philosophy with our investment dollars here at the Community Foundation is the long range, the long pole. We're not in it for quick bucks, which generally don't materialize very well.
Yeah, so, it's you trade a lot. You're not going to make much money. You have to be a long-term player.
Well, we'll get into maybe some details around the benefits of gifts of stock as opposed to cash in particular. But I'd love to ask you, Brian, you are, just to give a little background, you have been on a board of directors of the North Valley Community Foundation.
Right.
This was a few years back in
Yes.
the earlier days.
Yes.
And also serve on the advisory council for the charitable gift planning program here.
Right.
Why have you been so involved?
Well, going back, the Community Foundation, when I got involved with it, was just a sort of a startup, fledgling operation. But every community that was successful in supporting the charities that were available all had a community foundation. So this is rolling back, I don't know, maybe close 25 years or so, Bill, 30 years. But I felt it was important to be able to, give back to the community that's, done so much for us. And so once I got involved in the Community Foundation, I saw how it really works, the different charities they're able to support, how they support them, the strength that they have from an operational standpoint. To me, it was just a natural fit. And, we ended up starting our own fund, our own donor-advised fund, out of a difficult situation with our family. We lost a son, and we wanted to do something to honor, his legacy, trying to support young people.
Wonderful.
So, we started our own donor-advised fund, and it's been a real blessing to be able to, to have that fund and be able to use, some of those funds to support other kids within the community. So it's pretty near and dear to our heart.
Oh, that's great. You've had that donor-advised fund now for close to 20 years, if our records are accurate.
Yeah, I think they are.
On that. And one of the interesting things I was kind of looking back at the history of your fund, and it seems like almost every year, maybe every year, the way you have utilized the donor advised fund is by making gifts of stock, which of course is kind of natural given
Yes.
your investment and professional background. So it kind of fits nicely with our subject today on gifts of stock. And how have you found working with the foundation with the donor advised fund?
Oh, it has been a dream, not to overstate it, but it's very simple.
It's okay, you can overstate it.
Yeah, I'll overstate it. Well, when we created our donor advised fund, we were really looking for an avenue to put some of our resources into a fund that we would be able to then distribute out via grant making to different charities within the community. And rather than setting up a private foundation or a family foundation, which is very costly and can be time consuming, the donor advised fund was for us a great vehicle. And so we found it very, very simple to use. I think the technology that the foundation has embraced in helping donors allocate resources, look at the performance of the fund, look at the funds, look at the grants. I think it's wonderful, and so there's been a great adoption, I think, of technology for donor advised funds, and I think for donors it just gives you a heightened sense of security in terms of how does this all work, and North Valley Community Foundation as a fiduciary for these funds I think is I'd give them a 10 out of 10.
Well, thank you. That's a pretty nice rating from someone with your professional background and so forth. So, you've done a lot of gifting into your donor advised fund of stock. What are the benefits of donating stock as opposed to putting cash?
Good question. The stock gifts for us have. And for any donor, really make a lot of sense because we tend to give securities that have appreciated significantly, stocks that we've held over a long period of time, and rather than just sell the stocks, pay capital gains tax, and then donate the cash. When we donate the stock, we get the full market value as a deduction on our income tax, so it's very tax efficient, and it's a great way for us to sort of pare down positions in our portfolio that eventually we do want to give away. So I think from a tax standpoint, it makes a lot of sense to give away stock, and always checking with your CPA to see what makes sense in terms of the deductibility of it. But it's something that we like to do on an annual basis.
Yeah, that's wonderful. You mentioned about, of course, the avoidance of capital gains tax, which is very attractive, especially in today's market where the value on stocks is up there, historic highs. It's an opportunity to save your cash, it seems to me, and cash in on that appreciation without having to pay capital gains tax. And as I recall, the way it works is that by gifting the stock to a nonprofit like North Valley Community Foundation, the foundation can then sell the stock, and since it's a nonprofit, there is no taxable gain on that sale,
Right.
And in turn you're then able to utilize that cash not only for making grants, but also you can keep that money in the market, invested in the market, and get some pretty good gains, especially over the last few years.
Yeah, it does. It makes all the sense in the world. And I think another thing that the clients and many of the donors that we've recommended over, when you have a large concentrated position in a stock, it adds a certain level of risk to your portfolio.
Yeah.
So using that as a donation to your donor advised fund, which you control, and you guide it in terms of where you want the money to go, but it does give you an opportunity to move those dollars into a more balanced portfolio, which the North Valley Community Foundation does have. And so it spreads out the risk. And really what we're trying to do with our fund, and what many donor advised funds do, is they really want to support different charities over a long period of time. And so moving it more to a balanced portfolio, taking the deduction on the front end, makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned about the charitable contribution deduction for tax purposes. It seems to me that what has happened, what did happen a couple of years back, is that the standard deduction for taxpayers more than doubled, as I recall. And so there were fewer and fewer people who could take advantage of the itemized deduction as opposed to taking the standard deduction. And of course, charitable contributions are an itemized deduction. What do you think about the strategy of using that donor advised fund for making a substantial gift to the donor advised fund in 1 year, when you can calculate that it would be an itemized deduction, and then you can spread your contributions over a period of years after that?
Makes a lot of sense. And I think it's very important. And when we worked with our clients in the past on this issue, we want to make sure that their CPA is involved and has run the numbers. We don't want any surprises in terms of when to gift, how to gift, or how much to gift, or what security to gift. So we really want a coordinated attack with that. But it makes a lot of sense where you have a really, really large income year and you have a large amount of appreciation in a security or in your portfolio. It's a wonderful time to look at that gift. Sure. And then, of course, the advantage of the donor advised fund, and this is what we love, you can give that money out as you see fit. You may put $500,000 into a fund this year and not give any of it away, still pick up the $500,000 deduction, and then over time, working with your spouse or with your children, decide what charities you want to give the money to, how much you want to give it, and when do you want to give it. And so we love the flexibility of the donor advised fund, and as we give money out on an annual basis, we generally have areas of interest that we will give the money to, but there are also needs that come up in the community that will allow us to fund, in some cases, crisis situations, which
Sure.
we felt fortunate to be able to do that, and it seems like there's no shortage of them anymore.
We do seem to run into them
Yeah.
from time to time. Seems to me, is it tough to get this exchange going? Basically, you're gifting stock from a portfolio into another portfolio and so forth. I mean, is it difficult, time-consuming? What's the process there?
It's actually very simple, thanks to technology.
That's nice. That's
Technology.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the smart guys down in Silicon Valley, they all figured this out. All the stuff I had to do by myself 20 years ago, Bill, now I hit a button and I can get it done. But no, it's as simple as a meeting with your advisor.
Okay.
It's basically an electronic transfer. We have accounts set up at our firm where an electronic transfer can go from our custodian directly to North Valley Community Foundation. We follow it up with a gift notification letter to the North Valley Community Foundation. It's very, very simple. The real work with it comes making sure that the right shares with the lowest cost basis are moving over, and that's something that obviously the advisor would work with the client on.
Sure.
Yeah.
So no, you don't have to go into your file cabinet and pull out old stock certificates and sign them over or anything like that.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen a stock certificate in quite a while.
Yeah.
I don't know if they exist anymore.
Yeah. Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Well, one of the interesting things that I love about the Community Foundation is that we provide a service actually to other nonprofit organizations, because there's actually quite a few of the smaller organizations, maybe even a few of the larger ones, that don't have an investment fund in a brokerage account that the transfer can take place. And so one of the things that I really like about NVCF, the foundation, is that we can work with those nonprofits who maybe have donors, longtime donors that want to make a gift of stock, and we help with that process in essence. So we basically accept the stock. We know in advance from the donor who it's to go to, and once the stock is sold, we send them a check or a transfer now, an ACH transfer, an electronic transfer.
That's what it is these days. Yeah.
So and I think that helps a lot for nonprofits. It captures the interest of those donors that would like to make the stock for all the advantages that you mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great service because it can be very complicated for a nonprofit or an individual to try and figure out, how do I give the money? Who does it go through? Is there a tax aspect to it?
Sure.
And even for some of the smaller nonprofits, I know the service you offer in terms of account management and asset management, small nonprofits are not able to do that efficiently. I think it's a great service. So I think this idea that as people give, knowing that there is an umbrella organization that can address all of these needs is wonderful. And we've had many clients and friends who have established funds that didn't previously exist, which I think is super important, because if there is a certain need, if there's a family member that's missed, they want to do something in memoriam for them, having the North Valley Community Foundation there is a great benefit. And I think it meets a lot of needs. I'm always astounded when I go into the website to see the number of funds that are existed. It's you just have to look at it.
Yeah, we're pretty close to 500 funds that we manage in a variety of areas. It's not all donor-advised funds, endowment funds, and scholarship funds. We love being able to serve people who want to make a difference in their community through philanthropy.
Yeah.
So, well, Brian, I've known you for a while, and I know that you must have, in closing, a favorite stock investment joke. Anything you want to share with us on that?
Well, Bill.
Did I catch you off guard?
The old joke was, you want to make a small fortune in the market, start with a big one.
Perfect.
Maybe that applies to the crypto guys today. I don't know.
Yeah, could be.
I'm not up on the crypto jokes, and there's a lot of it I don't get. But no, there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff going around Wall Street that's pretty funny,
Yeah, you can make some serious mistakes out there, can't you?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, Brian, thank you so much. I appreciate very much you coming in and
thank
having
you, Bill.
a little chat on this. And of course, we love to have folks that have great experience, background in some of these areas of charitable gift planning. Thank you all. We appreciate you visiting with us and hopefully picking up some good ideas.